Order the meeting, March 20th, 2024 meeting of the Ames Zoning Board of Adjustment. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial board created by the city of Ames. The board's purpose is to decide on applications for special use permits, exceptions, and variances to the zoning ordinance, applications for conditional use permits in the floodplain, requests for reasonable accommodation based on a disability, and appeals of decisions of the zoning enforcement officer. As a board of the city, we welcome all testimony. We make our decisions based on the facts and evidence as allowed under city code and presented in an open meeting. Testimony before the board must be given under oath or affirmation. If the proceedings become lengthy, we may ask that testimony be focused on new facts or evidence not already presented. We ask that you come to the microphone if you wish to speak when it's your opportunity to do so that your testimony will be audible and may be recorded. Before speaking, please complete an orange information card and hand it to the recording secretary. They're located on the little table outside the door. When you are testifying, please address your remarks to the board. We also ask that the proceedings be orderly. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is an independent volunteer board of citizens. We are not part of the city administration. We are served in our efforts this evening by Jane Chang, Assistant City Attorney, Ray Anderson and Amelia Schoeneman, City Planners, and Natalie Rickmeyer, Recording Secretary. The order of proceedings for each application will be as follows. First, an oral statement summarizing the issues and procedural steps will be presented by the staff. Second, testimony and evidence will be presented by the applicant. Third, testimony may be heard from any members of the audience who wish to speak in support or in opposition to the appeal. Next, the board will give the applicant and the city staff an opportunity to present concluding summaries and arguments. And finally, the board will discuss the issue and evidence and come to a decision. On the agenda for this evening, the first item is the approval of the minutes of February 14th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Whitehouse. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Zener. Any discussion regarding those? I think everybody was here except for one.
I was neither.
No,
Okay.
Yeah. Leanne.
Okay, I guess the other two of you weren't
okay.
there, so I don't see anything that needs to be changed or discussed. So I'll just, I don't think we need a roll call vote. Just all those in favor of approving the minutes from the February 14th, 2024 meeting indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, the minutes from February 14th, 2024 are approved. Our second item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing on a request for a temporary special use permit for yard waste and collection and a transfer site at 2020 and 400 Friel Drive. Ray, this is all you
Yes,
right now.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Ray Anderson. I'm a planner in the Department of Planning and Housing. And this is a special use permit to allow a temporary yard waste collection and transfer site, as was mentioned at 220 and 400 Friel Drive. A year ago, there was an extension granted for the permit that was approved by the board in 2022. And you can, according to the code, the temporary special use permit is good for 1 year, and then you can grant an extension for 1 year. So it's time for a new special use permit this year. And it's at the location that it's been since 2017. On the screen here, highlighted is 400 Friel, and then 220 Friel is between that site and Friel Drive. It's a square parcel here that would be used as, I'll go the other way here, would be used for exiting on the free days if necessary for traffic control. So the approval in 2023 included some conditions. One is that there be no further extensions without a new special use permit, which is why we're here. And then it also limits the term from May 1st, 2023 to May 1st, 2024. So they're needing to get this special use permit, the new one, approved prior to expiration of the one that was approved last year, the extension. There are no changes proposed. There's no site improvements planned. There's no change in how the site would operate. It'd be exactly how it has been since 2017. There have not been any complaints we've received about the operation of the site. There will be as many as 5 free days, one this spring and then up to 4 in the fall. And the hours for the operation in the fall would change on Saturdays to have the free days and would last until 4 p.m. on Saturdays instead of closing earlier in the day at noon. The conditions that they must meet, the standards are for a special use permit, and we have reviewed those as staff. And instead of going through each one individually, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. As staff, we believe they meet all those conditions. And this is in the general industrial zone, and it's a permitted use in the industrial zone with this special use permit. And so we are recommending approval with certain conditions. Put those up on the screen here. Okay, with alternative 1, for a 1-year approval of a temporary yard waste and transfer site at 220 and 400 Field Drive, based on the findings of fact and conclusions you find in the report, with the following conditions. General operations on weekdays and weekends be as described within the application, and up to 5 large event days. Those are the free yard waste days. B, use of the site shall be consistent with the plan submitted as part of the special use permit application, which shows that traffic flow that I was just describing. The term of the use shall begin on May 1st, 2024. That's when the current extension expires, and would continue for 1 year through May 1st, 2025. And then all yard waste material, equipment, and temporary structures would be removed from the site, and the site restored to its current or better condition within 60 days, if that was the end of the operation of that use. They can also request another year extension, which is that 4th condition. A single extension of up to 1 year may be granted by the zoning board of adjustment, provided the permit has not already expired. So that is our report. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have. And the applicant is here as well.
I have a question. So a single extension after this extension,
This is a new special use.
this is a new,
Mhm.
To start over.
There was an extension
starting
last year.
okay,
Now they're requesting a new special use permit. And then next year, a year from now, they could require
an extension.
1 more year through an extension granted by the board.
Is there a more permanent permit that they can get for this
There is
situation?
not. No, in the code right now, it's temporary, and it's always for 1 year.
Okay, so every couple of years they have to apply for a,
Every year.
Every year.
well,
Mhm.
yeah.
I have to get
And
renewal,
that's,
Renewal,
extension,
extension,
renewal,
renewal,
extension.
extension.
that's something that,
Yeah.
that, maybe we should look at having a more permanent solution.
Mhm.
But right now, it's all temporary.
Ray, correct me if I'm wrong. There was
Yeah.
previously a discussion about a requirement for pavement that needed to be
Yes.
added. Is that been changed? So that's no longer a requirement?
It's not required.
Okay. I think that was the biggest controversy
Yeah.
about this site before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I think everybody realizes it's needed and necessary, and there's really no other site.
Mhm.
That was the
Yeah,
previous
yeah,
discussions.
in that vicinity. Now, the board could require it, but the,
Okay.
the wording in the code, the
Hmm.
provisions allow for it to
Okay.
exist without the paving.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions right now? I know the applicant's here. Do you wish to address the board?
My name is Doug McCray. I am a resident of Ames at 930. I do.
You swear to
farm-
tell the truth?
My name is Doug McCray. I am a resident of Ames. I live on Tennyson Avenue. I'm also a part-time employee of the firm that operates the Yardway site. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
I've been to the site, so I know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here. All right. I don't know if there's anything additional. Do we have any additional questions for staff?
The only thing I was confused by was that the request on the front page of this packet says a temporary special use permit. And then the resolution or the addendum says special use permit.
Yeah.
So there's no difference between those?
It's a special use permit, and then it's only
It's
good
temporary.
for a year.
Yeah, special use permit has certain general standards.
Okay.
There's special use permit for other things as well as this,
Right.
but those standards apply to this as one of the special permit uses.
So the only difference is the term of the permit.
Yeah, it's for 1 year, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do I have a motion based on this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to accept alternative number 1.
Okay,
I'll second it.
motion by
Zena.
Zener, second by Amar. Roll call vote.
Zener.
Aye.
Lamar.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Patton.
Aye.
Lightfoot.
Aye.
The motion has passed. Where's my little spiel? Based upon the motion passing, when will the date be, Natalie? May
30 days after the filing.
Yeah, so 30 days after the filing of the decision. If you wish to appeal this decision, you may do so by filing a writ of certiorari in Story County District Court. With that, then we'll move to the third item on the agenda, which is a public hearing on a request for a special use permit to allow an expansion of parking and vehicle storage area for a non-conforming vehicle service facility use at 102 Highland.
Good evening. Let me lower this screen a little bit so I can see your faces. Oh, maybe not. This is a request for a special use permit to extend or expand a non-conforming use. Campus Garage is a vehicle service facility on this map. It is highlighted in yellow, and it is the southern yellow property. That's where the original building, which was constructed in 1968, is located, and the existing parking area. So that vehicle service facility that exists there today is a non-conforming use, meaning it's not permitted in the zoning district. The property to the north has the same zoning district and was purchased by the property owner over 10 years ago. It used to contain a rental apartment dwelling, and then it was torn down and has remained vacant since. So the permit, the expansion of the non-conforming use is actually to extend the parking area onto this parcel to the north. And just to note, there is rock on the parking area currently that was added without the benefit of zoning review. And so this special use permit, the granting tonight, will be the final step towards compliance in dealing with the code compliance issues of having a rock parking area on that site. Part of what's before you tonight is a site development plan. So the special use permit has to have a site development plan. Got it up here on the screen. This is actually the landscaping plan. The site development plan requires two things. In the new parking area, full compliance with our standards for landscaping, for screening, for dumpster enclosures, for parking are required to be met. On the existing site, we require that those standards the applicant comes into conformance as practical with those standards. So on the existing site, staff has determined based on reconfiguration of the accesses on the site that a 7-foot landscape buffer along Highland and Lincoln Way is permitted. Usually a 10-foot landscaping buffer is required. However, on the site to the north, since full compliance is required, since this is a new use, the board would need to approve an alternative landscaping plan to allow that reduced 7-foot buffer size on the parcel to the north along Highland. So right here where the mouse is. Alternative landscaping plans can be approved if it's found that the design or quality of the landscaping exceeds the requirements. Staff has made that finding for you in the staff report based on the high screen, which is required as there's adjacent apartment complexes. The high screen is actually a larger depth than would typically be required. So that is getting you that higher quality site improvement elsewhere that allows us to approve that alternative landscaping plan tonight if you so choose. I will also note that the site was recently rezoned. Let me pull up them. And as part of the rezoning, there is a master plan. And the master plan was approved by City Council and shows generally where landscaping has to occur. And so both the minor site development plan that's before you and the special use permit have to comply with this master plan as well. So staff's review did include ensuring compliance with the master plan and finding that that was met. In terms of staff recommendation, again, we found due to the high screen buffer, an alternative landscaping plan may be approved. We also found that all commercial zone and general zone standards for special use permit are met. I think I could sum it up by saying we're really enhancing a site here with additional landscaping, with this paved parking area, with an improved access configuration. This won't impact surroundings or the potential of the site to be redeveloped. And so we found, again, that all of the standards are met. There is a memo before you on the dais, and you received it via email today as well about modifications to the conditions. I'll wait for you to flip to it. So alternative 1 in the staff report is approval, including of the alternative landscaping plan. Alternative 2 in the staff report is approval, but not with the alternative landscaping plan. And then of course you have your denial and referral options as well. The conditions under alternative 1 and 2, we are recommending be modified. One of the conditions is that the site be rezoned. That has occurred and is no longer necessary. So that was condition C. So if you look at alternative 1 and 2 in this memo, that includes that condition removed. The other modified condition is that staff has worked with the applicant to modify our recommended timeline for these site improvements to be completed. The applicant has indicated they will start and complete all of the improvements on the north site, which is where that rock was added. That's not in compliance. And they'll start that on the recommended timeline that you saw in the original condition in the staff report. So start by July of this year, complete by November. So that takes care of that code compliance piece that we're addressing tonight. They did, however, request an extended timeline on the improvements to the south. So putting the landscaping in and reconfiguring the accesses on the improvements to the south. And given that there isn't a code compliance issue on the site to the south, staff agreed that we could recommend an extended timeline for those improvements of July 1st of 2025. So that is reflected in both alternatives in the memo. I'm happy to take any questions, especially on those changes to the conditions or any of the standards for this special use permit.
So as the zoning is now, since it's been changed, the site is is in compliance with the current zone.
No, the site is still a non-conforming use, even with the rezoning that's occurred. The rezoning occurred because it used to be a residential zone. It was a non-conforming use in a residential zone, but in residential zones, we have stricter requirements on the configuration and location of parking lots. So by rezoning to a commercial zone, they're able to have more parking and maneuvering area on the lot to the north, as well as come into conformance with our comprehensive plan, which was important for the city. We see in the future along this Lincoln Way corridor opportunities for infill and redevelopment, and this neighborhood commercial zoning that it was recently rezoned to is more in line with that future land use than the residential zone was.
Right. I mean, but like the garage is still not a conforming use.
No,
Okay.
which is why we still have to go through the special use permit to expand a non-conforming use tonight,
Got
even with the zone change.
Any other questions for staff? The north lot will be paved, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. If the applicant wishes to address the board, may do so. I'll have you swear you in before you do it. Have you state your name and address. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Eric Coles of Bolton and Mink, 1519 Baltimore Drive here in Ames. Amelia, thank you for your wonderful description of the project and everything. And ZBA, thank you for your time. If there are any other questions of us, we'd be happy to answer those, but we've worked with staff diligently to try to get to a point where the non-conformances become as conforming as we possibly can.
Any questions? All righty,
Thank you.
thanks. Any follow-up for Amelia? Okay, do I have a motion for an alternative for this agenda item?
Public hearing.
Oh, public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the board on the issue? Sorry, thank you. All right, no one's indicated that they wish to, so now we'll move. Is there any other questions from staff then? I don't think so because we covered that. All right, now I'll entertain a motion on this agenda item.
I will move to approve it, alternative 1.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mars, second by Zener. I assume this motion then is the one that removed D, so that's the amended.
Correct.
Yeah, alternative 1. Okay, any discussion regarding, I think the only item was really the 10 feet versus 3 feet. And it's an improvement overall as I see it to the site because there's currently no landscaping on it, as I recall. Any other items at all? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Schneider,
Aye.
Whitehouse,
Nah.
Lamar,
Aye.
Zener,
Aye.
Patton.
Aye.
The motion passed. Anyone wishing to appeal the decision of the ZBA may do so with the court of record, the Peoria County District Court, by filing a writ of certiorari within 30 days of the filing of this decision. As there are no other items on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to dismiss.
I'll make a motion to dismiss.
Motion by Amar, second by Whitehouse. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you all.